Fine Joe. Know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude. This is Real Spoilers, episode 771.
That's it.
I did the math right because I was out last week.
Well, you thought it was 770, so you did it wrong, but it ended up being right. Yeah, so.
Hey, as long it doesn't matter if you're right for the wrong reason.
That's right.
See?
If marriage has taught me anything. So anyway, Black Mirror dream scenario.
Boy. Skip it.
What's that?
This movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's funny.
Well-
I love this movie.
Yeah, this
Okay,
movie's great.
but I think I know.
Nope, can't take it back.
I know.
I love when Joe
I-
says his opinion first.
I think I know why, though.
Okay.
But we'll get into
But
it.
this
when
is
we're done
our
with it.
job now.
Because it's about a bald guy.
No.
This is our job now. For the next hour, we have 1 hour to change Joe's
Turn me
mind.
around.
Yes, to change.
I
Joe's
love
mind.
it when Joe's opinion changes by the end of the
Yeah.
movie. It's like,
So, but it
did
was
it.
very much a Black Mirror episode.
Yes.
So, like, it,
Yes.
so there is that. So, well, let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
this is Kevin.
And this is Tom. The band
He's
is
back.
back together, and this is
we
actually
made it.
in a physical location.
I got to tell you,
Welcome back to the country.
Yeah. don't ever leave because trying to do that opening from memory is the worst.
Yeah, I see.
Joe took-
It is not as easy as I make it look.
Joe took it on it's the first time he's ever done it on the proper show. And for Patreon, he goes, hey, you know the drill. All right, let's go.
I don't have to do all that
I'm
stuff.
like, that's not the intro to the proper show.
No, that's so. What did you say? Because you
The
were
radioactive bunker.
not. You did. Is that what you did?
Yeah,
Okay, because I
yeah.
was like, you weren't at the.
No, we were not at
O'Keefe
the
Institute.
We
so-
were not. We were back in the bunker, sort of,
Yeah.
kind of.
I took on the League of Show Shares. That
You
I
did.
Whipped up real quick.
Oh, that's good because I did not go back in time.
No,
so
no,
I'm
I
glad.
did the 2 weeks.
Well, thank you.
Or tried to at least.
So, well, speaking of, let's dig into shameless plugs real quick. Don't forget, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, YouTube, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. It's good for our egos, which could use the help.
Right
Comment
now,
about
yeah.
Elvis if
Yeah.
you want.
Holy guacamole, brother!
That would
The
be a whole
Elvis
show.
people
I
are still
cannot-
going.
That thing's up to like 3.5 thousand views.
And we just got a comment now. What's it been, a month? I mean, we just got a comment about how you guys were wrong
oh
again.
my god, it's so crazy. I'm actually
You weren't there.
Yeah, you didn't know who's the real pedophile. It's like, well, the guy that had sex with a 14-year-old, I'm pretty sure is the.
Well, he
you go.
did not have sex with her when she was 14.
No.
He was not. So he's not a pedophile. He's
Fair.
just a groomer.
He's a creeper.
He's a groomer. There's a subtle but important distinction.
I
All the
think we-
people who were so scared about kids reading a book,
Yeah, right.
teachers grooming kids, and like, well, Elvis, that's different. His music
but
was great.
who's the
so-
real
music
one?
was
so he,
great.
it's okay because his music's so good.
I love the one. I think there's one in there that like vehemently debunks the Mary Tyler Moore thing. There's one where she's like, "There's no, of course he had sex with Mary Tyler Moore." It's like, okay, whatever, man. Like whatever
They are
delusional.
listening to the whole thing.
They
though.
must have. They
That's
did.
what is impressive because they weren't just doing that thing where they jump on a video and instantly are like, no, down, but
No,
whatever.
they listen
like,
to the. They listen to the.
They're
So thanks for
calling,
listening.
yeah, they're calling out every little thing you said.
One of the
It's
ho-
called hate listening.
The host pretend like they know what Lisa Marie was feeling when her dad died. She blah blah blah. I was like, holy dude, like
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I out of line to assume she had grief?
or how she feels about the portrayal of her father
Yeah.
in this movie. Maybe it's a little weird for her to see that on screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Anyway.
thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. Whatever drives the algorithm. That's all we
Right,
care
right.
about anymore. So it's all about the algorithm.
That's what we'll be known for now is our
I know.
Elvis podcast.
That one and real spoilers or real. No, what
I
was
hope
the
we're known for real spoilers.
Yeah.
RIPD?
Oh, geez, that
Yeah.
RIPD, that second episode that had the wrong audio or whatever.
Yes.
It was like episode 4, but it was the RIPD audio. 'Cause It
Yeah.
was like Two Guns, but it was RIPD or
Right.
something.
And it had, like-
and it had tens of thousands.
I don't know what happened there. I have no idea.
Some bot got a hold of it.
Fine.
The people love to
Do
guns.
it. Yeah, they do love two guns. Or Paula, whatever.
Who-
Patton.
that
Paula
was-
Patton is in that movie.
Mark Wahlberg and,
And
Denzel Washington.
and Paula
Yeah.
Patton.
I could not tell you anything about that movie, the plot. Do you remember? What's the plot of that Two Guns?
Paula Patton.
Okay.
As far as I can get you.
It's gun meets gun, and they fall in love,
Spy versus Spy.
and then gun loses gun.
Did you hear Mr. and Mrs. Smith is getting a remake?
A remake or a sequel?
Remake with Donald Glover.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get Donald
Is it a
Glover-
show? too?
Yeah, it's a show, I
That's
series.
fine.
I think
I'll
it's
take
a
Donald
series.
Glover.
Prime, I
anything. I
think.
think that
Yeah.
guy's great.
Yeah. He is great.
Same.
Yeah.
So anyway, shameless plugs. Don't forget you can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/real spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Shares because we're hoping you will share an episode. Matt Reedy must be a juggernaut because we got shared like crazy last week.
Hey.
Godzilla,
So-
the power of
That's
Godzilla.
So I'll
right.
be
They
leaving
got-
the
they
show and Matt will take over.
Like reopened again. Did you
they,
see that?
they
Like
expanded it to
it.
more screens because it's doing so
It was
well.
supposedly
great.
supposed to be like a 1 week engagement.
And it's-
they were like, we'll bring this foreign film over. You know, there's a decent Godzilla crowd. There's nothing playing on IMAX. We'll pop it up there for
Yeah.
a week. And then the thing is, you know,
It-
But then
They-
they
they're-
got pushed out of IMAX.
They're
right?
expanding it. Well, they would have to be because they're expanding it to 2,500 screens.
But I think
But
Beyonce
I mean,
knocked
something
it out.
kicked it.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
but it gets to live on as
Yes.
opposed to the 1 week
Which
and
is
then digital.
fantastic.
So,
Yeah.
And it deserves it. Go listen to that episode. Please, for the love of God, listen to that episode.
For Kevin's
I have
sake.
never. That episode took more work than any episode in the history. It was a
Clusterfuck.
It was a comedy of errors. It just one thing after another happened. It had to do with technical difficulties. It ended up Matt did not record his audio. But great, we have an online backup. But the backup didn't upload. But wait, there's another backup, and it kind of works. Let's splice all of these different things together. Oh my gosh!
For a minute there, we thought that we might just do Godzilla -1 again,
redo it,
but with
yeah.
me instead of Matt.
Right.
Yeah. So
Did you see it?
no, I have not seen it.
So did you hear
if you
the
can make it to the theater,
Yeah,
It-
man.
when I saw, if you recall,
We all-
I was
You
the one
did,
when
you
I
did.
saw the trailer. I was like, that looked awesome.
But if you can see it on the big screen, I mean, if you have any chance, you
Yeah.
just sneak away and see it. Like, obviously, it'll be fun to watch at home, but the big screen with the audio, I mean, that's a movie
Yeah.
for the theater.
So Jason, we talked about at the end of that movie. This isn't really a spoiler, but like the butterfly tattoo.
yeah, the Monarch that you said that you joked about, right?
Jason from Binge Movies chimed in and sent me a DM. Said she's gonna be Mothra, and I didn't even put that together.
Huh? Okay.
I mean, it's the same style of like thing, like right.
Interesting,
I was
okay.
like, wait a minute. Explain to me how they're going to turn a human being
Well.
into a moth. He's like, I don't know, but it's
it's
That's
science
it's
fiction.
science fiction. It's
Yeah.
Godzilla. They could do anything.
There you
yeah,
go.
like it's.
But yes, please go for Kevin's
Please.
sake.
If that's our lowest listened to episode, I swear. Because you know that's how it is. Elvis gets a trillion views.
a
That
movie
you-
we almost didn't do.
Yeah. Right.
And we
You
were
guys-
like, who cares about
He
this?
did it without
Little
me.
did we know.
Didn't take hardly
Yeah.
any work to put up there.
Right,
and then this
right,
one
right.
goes out. And
We
it's
didn't
gonna be
pick
like,
up any
"Fine."
new listeners because they all hate us.
That's true.
But,
Maybe they'll just hate listen to us.
whatever.
Yeah.
So, also, people who were kind enough to share an episode last week include Douglas Baldock, Julianne Jordan, Jason McLean, Tammy Lynn Powers Betts, Brendan McGuckin, Chris Magic Man, Glenn Cougar Mellenbrewer, Ralph Tribble, Gabriel Lugo, Tom Dowdy, Travis Tewitt, Chris Falls, Chris Sanders, Richard Krotzer, Lane Levanway, Dissect That Film, Heather Sachs, Brent Smith, Invasion of the Remake, The Film Bee, In Session Film, Feelin' Film, Mike and Oscar, Geek to Me Radio, Ryan Terry, Ronnie Castle, Colby Mack, Matt Naglia, Binge Movies, and of course, me.
Hey, you
So,
made it.
I made it. So anyway, also don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/$5 or slash
$5.
slash real spoilers,
Do
where
it.
for $5 you can get all sorts of bonus content and we like you extra. So
Yeah.
there's all that. Let's dig into Dream Scenario.
I think you liked this because this was like a pseudo. We're a Woody Allen fan, right?
if I'm still allowed to say that, he has some movies that I
Well,
greatly enjoyed.
Talking about getting canceled.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I think I didn't like this movie because I don't like Woody Allen. And
So
this
wait, are you
felt-
saying the character reminds you of Woody Allen
I'm
and the
saying that-
situation, or the movie itself reminds you of a Woody Allen movie?
I think all of that until the thing changes. When the dreams change, it's a different movie.
Yeah.
But I think the neuroticism and the not being able to talk to the professor woman, or not being able to really be like legit intimate with his wife, like just the whole character. I feel like if this movie was made 30 years ago, this is a Woody Allen movie.
This reminds me a lot more of something like Punch Drunk Love.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could, but to me,
The
Punch
pacing
Drunk
and the
Punch
character
Drunk
and
Love
things.
also feels like in that Woody Allen world.
Yeah, like it doesn't remind me of like the kind of characters that Woody Allen would play, just because the Woody Allen characters
We're confident.
were
right?
they were this archetype that I refer to as like the brave coward.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like
Okay.
he'd be
Okay.
scared of things, but he couldn't help himself to have like some witty comeback put
That's
down
fair.
and so like this character doesn't have that
Ever.
And so like I have a hard time classifying it in quite the same way.
That's fair.
Maybe
that was the problem.
I
though.
get what's resonating with you in that regard, especially if you haven't seen a lot of Woody Allen movies, especially
I've seen the important ones.
yeah, so,
you know.
okay, yeah, like especially anything like Annie Hall and before.
Yes, I've
you
seen
know.
that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I've watched.
Yeah, that's to me. I think that's for the most part.
Joe
the best.
exclusively watches videos since he left the country. He only watches his new stuff they make
Yeah,
out
I
of the
don't.
country.
No, I don't know old stuff. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
all
only
that.
see the stuff that's in French.
This movie really would be a good double feature with Beau is Afraid. This has a
If
very
that's
much,
the case, then I'm glad I didn't see that movie.
Which I still have not seen.
but I
so,
mean,
yeah.
just the whole like weird things happening and bad stuff happening to a guy, and which again I'll bring up After Hours, which is one of my favorite Scorsese movies.
you know who
This is-
produced this?
Who?
Ari Aster.
Ari Aster,
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This is to me, very much like 90s art house movie. This is very much
Yes.
being John Malkovich.
I will absolutely.
It's
agree with that.
Kaufman-esque for sure. I mean, there's
Yeah.
influence. He did that movie Adaptation
with Nicholson.
Yeah,
with Nicolas Cage.
yeah.
What was the
Adaptation.
what was the
Right,
Nicholas?
Charlie Kaufman.
Well, yeah, but what was the Jack Nicholson one?
Oh, I don't know.
Wasn't it
Lost in-
Adaptation?
well,
No, that's-
no.
What's the one with him with like the plant on his head? Like he's About Schmidt?
Adaptation?
About Schmidt.
oh,
That's Alexander
oh.
Payne.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this feels very Andy Kaufman, Ari Aster for newer.
Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah, not Andy.
I'm
Kaufman.
sorry. Well,
Maybe, yeah.
so,
But yeah,
he's pretty
it's,
good.
it's
He's-
definitely got a
Yeah.
John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Yes,
Mind kind
I'll
of vibe
absolutely
going on.
agree
Yeah.
with that. And
I love this movie too. I thought it was great. Nicolas Cage. This movie
What a crazy year
was
for that guy.
But this movie was so made for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, how could anyone but Nicolas Cage? I mean, this was him in real life. If you think about his career, I mean, he used to be A-list movie star.
Right.
Sure.
And then people started cutting his videos of him being wackadoo, like just pulling one scene out of a movie.
Where do you think
And he
that
became a joke. And then
Yeah.
everyone was watching him and sharing the stuff. He instantly overnight transformed from like not instantly, but it seemed instantaneous that it was like Nicolas Cage movie star to Nicolas Cage crazy wackadoo actor, and then him having to like
Where do you
build
think
this
that
redemption.
line is?
I mean,
Is there a line?
the
where it's-
line is if it works.
Okay.
Right?
True.
I mean, it really just comes down to that. I mean, Nicolas Cage has always taken big swings.
Yeah.
Sure.
And sometimes it works. Sometimes it's Raising Arizona.
So good.
But you got to give it to the guy. He never phones it in.
No, I mean, and
He is
and-
100%.
But like his performances are definitely one of a kind,
Mm-hmm.
and it's similar to Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, right? Like that's a big swing.
Yeah.
If that didn't work, we'd be
making fun of it.
If that didn't work, it would be the Lone Ranger,
That's true.
right?
That's
and
true.
So,
Yeah.
and I think that like part of the problem with that for Johnny Depp is that when it worked,
Man,
and it
smashed.
did, it did.
Yeah.
He thought he could do it over and over and over again.
he crazy hearted it.
And
Yeah, but
I mean,
and,
you're
but like
not wrong.
he kept taking these wild big swings with diminishing returns.
Yeah.
and then it just and then obviously
became
all the other stuff, and it just kind of.
do you think he can
off the
pull
rails.
that nose up? No pun intended.
I don't know.
I don't think he can.
Yeah, like I think,
Like, I
and I
don't-
think
I don't-
one?
So getting
Johnny
into this movie, I feel like that, like, obviously we should get into the movie itself so we can talk about the themes of the movie, because it's very much about cancel culture, and my concern is that the right is going to glob onto this movie,
Which is the whole end of this movie.
Right.
It's just like,
because I watched it and I was like, well, this is the next step, is
Yep.
that you basically have to go be a right-wing zealot, because
you won't have anywhere else to go.
If they hated you before, once you get canceled, they will love you.
Right.
Even though they
Well,
used to hate
and
you.
we'll talk about when we get there, but this just happened to someone very popular.
Did it?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, there's something very timely, and this movie was obviously in the can. It had premiered before this all went down, so it's like not a reaction, but it's like this movie is so spot on about how people that are canceled handle things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So
stay tuned. That's to keep you listening.
Yes, that's right. That's a teaser. So Nicolas Cage plays this kind of humdrum, very bland, very boring professor named Paul, and his
Well, I gotta
life.
say, he's Walter White. This movie has a couple references that are very similar.
I was thinking the same
The
thing.
movie opens with one of the most famous scenes of Breaking Bad.
Why do you think he's Walter? Oh, because he is kind of humdrum and.
No,
Walter White is very much
Walter
the same.
White was the partner of a startup that became this huge
and
company.
they stole his ideas.
They stole his ideas. He left, and now he's trying to be something, but he's a nobody. I mean, Walter White's a high school chemistry teacher
Right,
who
right.
aspired for greatness and is clawing back, trying to do something great. I can't help but
Interesting.
think.
That's
and then the
interesting.
opening scene is there's basically an airplane. I mean, you don't see an airplane, but bodies are falling into a pool. Keys are dropping and breaking a table, like that scene in Breaking Bad.
I've
where
never seen Breaking Bad.
Okay, but there's a famous opening of a season.
Do yourself
Well,
a
yeah.
favor.
One of the greatest shows ever made.
Yeah, like it's
Ever.
so
Like, it
good.
is,
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a scene. I mean, this isn't really a spoiler, but a season opens with this like cold open,
Yeah.
and stuff is falling out, and you find out it's from a plane, which I mean
Okay.
makes sense. But stuff is just dropping into a backyard, and there's stuff all over a pool, and so it just there's a couple things.
That's
And,
pretty spot on to what happens in this movie.
right. So I
Yeah.
mean, I couldn't help but notice that there has to be some inspiration because the character is very much.
Yeah, he looks similar to Walter White.
I guess if you hadn't seen it, that
No,
makes
but I
sense
know
for
what
like
he-
why.
but I know what he
that,
looks like,
That
yeah.
happens in the show. As he's
No, that was like what it was. Didn't we watch the like the pseudo like sequel to the show?
Did you watch Did we review El Camino?
We did
And
review
you've
El-
never seen Break?
Oh my god!
I guess
no,
we
there must have been
presumed-
nothing in that for you.
There was nothing.
We presumed you.
I
seen
like
the show.
no, that
That's
ending scene. That
hilarious.
ending scene is
Yeah.
really good of him and of I always called him
Jesse.
Paul. What's his name?
Jesse Plemons.
No,
Jesse the character.
Jesse the character.
Oh yeah,
Whatever his name is.
Jesse
Paul.
Plemons was in the show. I guess.
yeah. That's why I thought.
yeah.
Yeah,
But like that scene in the garage
Yeah.
when he's trying to like get out of the garage. I think that scene's great.
yeah.
But no, I was just like, oh, I'm just watching this movie.
That's
I don't know what the hell's
hilarious that
going
you
on.
had never seen that show, and it's like fought like an extra episode.
Yeah,
out of
that's
this.
exactly it. Yes. So there's a girl sitting in outside, and we see Nicolas Cage kind of like sweeping up leaves, and we see keys like fall and crash through a table, and then a body smashes into the pool, and then we smash.
The girl's
cut.
freaking out,
right?
and he's
but
just standing there.
sweeping,
Yeah.
like just sweeping the leaves. And we smash cut to her explaining what this dream is, and this is where we kind of get an idea of the complete emasculation of this character by his own hand, where he says he's like, I didn't do anything in the dream, and his daughter was like, nope, just stood there. He's
Just
like,
stood there.
I didn't help you or anything. She's like, no. He's like, oh, okay.
I didn't take it so much of as an emasculation though, as just a feeling incompetent. Like it's not so much
just
like I'm a
metaphor.
man and I have
Yeah.
to, but like not I'm a man and I have to protect you. But it's just I feel like it's like
I guess to me, in this situation, that's kind of a distinction without a difference.
okay.
You
Yeah.
know?
Because I mean, when we get to the scene with him and the professor, where he's like begging her to get credit on the thing that she stole, like
Especially when his wife is like, "You need to record this," and he's like, "I don't wanna," and then he does, and then he lies about having recorded it because he looks like such a pussy.
oh man, it
Like, he
is
doesn't want
hard
her to hear it.
listen to.
Yeah,
Where he's just like crying and begging to.
yeah. I
get his
really
name.
need this.
Oh.
It's like, oh.
I just took it more of that he's just such a like
Worm.
right, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but it just
Like
it goes
he's not
beyond
a bad,
gender.
He's not a bad dude.
No,
right?
but-
But he's very weak.
Yeah,
I just
that's
don't
the-
like.
he's
It's
got,
hard
he's
'cause,
got no
like, yeah,
backbone.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's every time somebody calls somebody a worm, I think of Mystery Science Theater. He's like, you remember me, the wormy guy. He goes to like a play, and we see like a guy off to the side. And there was a movie that we had seen where these things start like people are focusing on our main character, but you're not really sure why. Right?
Hereditary. It's
Maybe it is
hereditary.
Maybe that's true. It is hereditary. But
Because
I
you
was thinking
see
it follows
on
as
the second watch, you see the people from the cult,
Yes.
always kind of in the background watching.
Right. We see the naked guy in the room. We find out is like
Yeah.
spoilers for Hereditary. So now Paul he has this meeting with this professor, and these two work together in college, and she has basically stolen his idea. He wants to get published, but he can't get published because nobody gives a fuck.
And he's not actually doing the writing.
Correct.
Right? Like
He
wants,
came up with an idea.
Yeah,
Right.
and they expounded on it. He
They did
really
all the work.
hasn't done anything.
No.
She tells him there's a difference between having an idea and doing the work, and they've
Right.
been working out for 10 years.
And she's now in like a prestigious university. And
What is his idea called?
Intelligence.
Intelligence, because of the way ants work together. So he's a evolutionary biologist,
something like that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but he gives this speech at the beginning of the movie
zebras.
about zebras and how it's strange because different animals adapt in different ways, and usually it's like camouflage, so predators can't spot them. But zebras, they are white and black stripes. They stand out, but they blend in amongst each other. And so he's going through life. I take it as a zebra where he is just another
Just blending
person.
in.
He's
Yeah.
walking through life.
That's a good call.
Nothing to stand out.
Yeah.
At the beginning at least.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's like I was into this movie until the turn.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh God. As his life is going, they go to this play, and his ex-girlfriend shows up and just kind of like, hey, I've been meaning to talk to you. Like I've been dreaming about you. I've been trying to.
And the wife don't like
The
it.
wife don't like it, which
Understandably
makes sense.
so.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I think all he has to do is be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But this man craves attention
Yes.
so badly. He would never think of, oh well, this is gonna make my wife mad, so I'm gonna like play it cooler and be like, oh
Right.
okay, yeah, no, this. But like he's like, somebody wants to talk to me.
Yeah.
Like that's how desperate he is for some kind of fulfillment in his life because he wants to be special.
Right. And he's not.
Yeah,
He's just not.
He's not a bad person, like
Right.
Tom said, but it's just he's not doing major research and getting published. He wants to write a book, but hasn't even started it, and he just
He's
wants.
got a nice, solid middle class existence.
he's-
I
And
gotta
he-
tell ya.
and he wants more, but he doesn't know how to get it.
Yeah.
Guarantee he ain't paying off that house
Yeah.
because the wife says, I grew up in this house. That house is paid off, and that's a nice ass house.
It is.
So they go to the play. They meet the ex-girlfriend, and he agrees to meet her. But it's very awkward because he does keep looking at his wife, and he's like, instead of taking her social cues,
Like he knows it's upsetting her,
Yes.
but he can't help
It
himself.
just-
Correct.
He's drawn to the attention.
and the wife, it's kind of funny because that woman was on Law and Order, Criminal Intent for a
The
long
wife?
time. Yeah.
The wife?
Yeah. What is
Yes.
her
Yeah.
name?
But she was also in what was the Stephen King miniseries with Bateman, and
The Outsider?
she's Bateman's wife in the
Oh,
Outs- in
okay.
The
She was
Outsider.
also in HBO's Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, that's right. She was the sister, right?
Yeah, she's like,
Julianne Nicholson.
yeah.
Yes. She played Vincent D'Onofrio's partner when the other one left
Gotcha.
got pregnant or something and left the show. So they have this interaction with each other in the bed, and again, like
the wife and Paul.
Yeah, sorry, the wife and Paul.
Just a bit.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that later.
Janet and Paul.
Janet and Paul, just the most boring names as well. So they have
He
this.
said, "Damn it, Janet.
Damn it,
I
Janet."
love you."
Can't have an exciting name like Joe.
Hey, there's more. It's not hereditary. It's
assigned
familial.
It's unlike gender. It's assigned at birth.
Oh Jesus! Here we go.
But so
Also, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
on
they-
both fronts.
But you can change it if you want.
If you want.
But everyone will struggle calling you the new thing.
So they have this conversation. Is this where they have the conversation about her dream?
Well, she's like, he says, "What would your fantasy be?"
Because at this point, he's starting to realize he's popping up in people's dreams.
Right.
And he doesn't
says-
understand why.
And he says because he wants acceptance. He wants to feel like people think about him. And this is his wife. And he's like, "Do you ever dream about me?" And she's like, "No." and, then-
He's like, you're right here. What do I
and,
do?
then- and she starts to question the movie, and that may be later, but she questions like, why don't you think I dream about you? And he's like, because you get the real deal, baby. Like
That's
he's
right.
being so
And I do
such a
like-
goof
like-
because he's not cool.
No,
but
he's
he's
not
like,
cool, but I do like their interact. Like, I think that in these moments, I think
Yeah.
they're very good together.
Yeah.
Where she's talking about, can you just be like naked on a horse with a big and he's like, me or the horse? And I was like, that's a good line. I like
It's
that
well
line.
written. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should say, so the writer director of this movie, this may be his first feature. I saw he did a lot of short films. Kristoffer Borgli. And
Is there a lot over some of those letters?
no, but it's like a GLI.
Yeah,
but,
okay. Just about to-
he wrote and directed this movie, and it's
It's got some good stuff in it. I'm not gonna completely.
I was impressed for sure. Like, I guess maybe he's done one other feature, Sick of Myself, but
Yeah, I
this
mean,
may be his
that's-
first American.
That's what happened with the girl with the dragon tattoo, though.
Yeah.
Like that popped over in
Yeah.
Sweden, I think,
Yeah.
and then came over here. So he goes on this lunch, not date.
Well, yeah, he would
He
like
thinks
it
it's a
to
date.
be
He thinks
something.
it might be a date.
And I do, man. Her reaction, where he's just basically, she says, "Look, I write about things like this. Like I write for a blog." And he's like, "Oh, so you're published too?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's just like, "I mean, kinda." Like, and she downplays it as well. She's like, "Nobody really reads
And you know,
it."
this
but
doofus, he could start a blog if he wants
Right.
to.
all he had to do.
He could write his book. He could start a blog. It's so I don't want to say so easy.
Start
I
a
know
podcast. Any loser
Yeah,
can do
any
that.
moron can do that.
But it's like when you, not to undermine, and obviously we do these things, so I'm not knocking it, but it's just, it takes effort, but getting started, it's like going to the gym, right? It's getting started, doing it is the hardest part. And this guy has spent so much time dwelling over and obsessing over people wanting to be interested and, oh, I wish I could just write my book and all this. And it's like, dude, if you just spent
Just
the
do
time
it.
doing it, which what a lot of people do, right? They
Yeah.
spend more time.
Well, we did that at the beginning, right? Like how long did we talk about
Right,
the show? And
Sure.
finally, it was just like, look, we just need to do it,
Yes.
and it won't be what we want it to be, but we'll get it to where we
But
want it
recording
to be. We're still trying.
Yeah, recording episode 1 and then listening to it and like, okay, well, now we're forced to fix it. Instead of figuring out how to make it perfect,
Right.
do it, and then now we know episode 2 is coming up next week. We have to fix it and make it
Yes.
better.
Yes.
But anyway, but like this guy just will not jump into the things he wants to do.
No, he's too
But-
timid.
But he dwells on, why aren't people publishing me and liking me and asking me for help, inviting me to dinner. He has a friends, fancy friends, and he has all these other guests over and everything. But he will not get invited
But he
because he's
also-
not
that's-
interesting enough to go to dinner
Yeah.
and talk with his.
That guy also says he is just the most, boring. He's like, he's not a bad. Same thing. He's not a bad guy. He's just boring.
That's what I'm saying.
Suck
Like, but
full of charisma.
yeah,
Right,
he, when he has people over that are these international, whatever
psychiatrists or, just
at a dinner
smart
party,
people.
What's he gonna say? And he's gonna say something about like ants or whatever,
Or
and everyone's
zebras.
and then it's gonna be crickets.
Yes.
or he'll try, like you see moments where he tries to be funny and engaging, and it's just cringe inducing.
Yes.
like when
Right.
he pretends like when they show up to the party and nobody else is there, and he's like, more for us, and he takes the wine, he's like glug glug glug,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh my god, please stop talking.
It's so cringy, but
Like
it's great.
it's embarrassing to recreate.
Yes,
And-
correct.
but Nicolas Cage is fantastic in this role.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Oh,
character.
yeah.
And he's doing it perfectly.
For sure.
And also, and I listened to some interviews, and he said when he read this, he said the script was perfect. I didn't want to change anything. He basically said to the director, like, I'm your puppet. Tell me where to go. I'm going to do it. He loved the script. He said this is one of 5 scripts that when he read were perfect, and Raising Arizona was on there and some others. And he's like, this is among
Face Off.
Face Off, of
Yeah.
course,
Yes.
National Treasure
Yeah.
2.
What
Yeah.
was it? Bad Lieutenant 2, Port of New
think it's just
Orleans
Bad
or whatever.
Lieutenant.
No, he did
No,
something called Bad Lieutenant 2.
Bad Lieutenant is Harvey Keitel.
And he-
Bad Lieutenant 2 is Nicholas
Port
Cage.
of New
I
Orleans.
thought that
Yeah.
was a remake.
No, it's a sequel.
I had no idea
Yeah.
that was a sequel.
Anyway.
But so he goes to this lunch, and she basically says, "Can I write about this?" And he was like, "Sure, fine." And then he makes like a little joke, and she's like, "What's the problem?" And he's like, "My wife thought that you were going to try to rekindle the
And I love
art."
how
and she's like,
I love
"What?
how matter of
No."
fact she's like, why would she think that? And then he's like,
that's ridiculous.
And he's like, yeah.
But you're disgusting.
Yeah, right. It's just
You're a
not
monster.
even not even disgusting. It's like, but there's like she doesn't say this, but this is the vibe. Like, oh, but there's nothing sexual
Correct.
about you.
Yes.
Like you're
Yes.
not gross.
And-
you just cease to exist in the spectrum of sexuality.
Right.
And I don't believe
You're like a
again,
Ken doll.
I do think this guy, at least in the beginning and for most of the movie, but I do think he's a good guy. I don't think he went to this lunch looking to have an affair.
Right, I agree.
He wants someone to want
He
to have an
doesn't-
affair with
He
him.
doesn't
just-
want to cheat on his wife. He just wants someone
Validation.
to want to cheat
Yes.
with him. Right. Like,
Correct.
So
and-
like this guy's not a sleazebag.
which
It's
is
just-
part of what makes this performance so great is because that's a really delicate line to
Oh,
walk
absolutely.
as an actor. The idea of like, I want to know I could cheat on my wife, but I don't want to cheat on my wife.
right.
Because
Right.
if it's another actor that maybe doesn't give such a nuanced performance, that doesn't play it the right way, you're like, they're a scumbag.
Right.
They're a creep.
Yeah, and this is Bradley Cooper. Like,
Well,
this is
I mean,
it's a
yeah, I
different
could
story.
definitely see
You know
it
what I'm
could
saying?
be a
Like,
little, yeah.
It's a very different story. So
You just have that thing against Bradley Cooper.
I love Bradley Cooper.
I know, but
but he is. I mean,
it's hard not to see him as the bro, the whatever.
Yeah.
But he's expanded upon that a
for
little
sure.
bit. But
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Though, because he did start off like Wedding Crashers playing the
Wedding Crashers
douchey-
and The Hangover. The
Right.
Hangover is the same character, just likable.
See, my first interaction with Bradley Cooper was on a show called Jack and Bobby, where he was like the nicest guy in the world.
Oh, really?
And so, like, when I saw him in The Hangover and Wedding Crashers, I was just like, I still had like residual likeness for him,
Sure.
right? Like, I was just like, oh, but he's okay.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
So she publishes the article, and then all of a sudden, Paul's Facebook messages are blowing up, and it's like, I'm dreaming about you. Like, why is it you? What is it about you? And his popularity, much like an internet meme, just explodes.
and he loves it.
Oh,
he loves
yes.
the
He walks
attention.
in the-
The wife is like, maybe you should just like not respond. Don't look at whatever. And he's like, why? But,
Right.
he's just getting so excited.
Don't
People
Which
are-
is great. They love me.
Don't do the interviews. Like, just let it be. He walks into his class, and his class is filled with
and
people.
they're cheering for him,
Right.
and
So-
and he's like, okay, not all you guys are here for this lecture. Like half of them raised their hands there, and he's like, okay, we're gonna spend 5 minutes. You can ask me anything, then you got to go, and we're gonna get into class. And then he just
the
starts
entire
fielding
class.
questions,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then he's like, okay, next, and he loves it. I mean, again, and that's the whole thing with this guy is that he just wants, it's not like he's.
And how do you not?
It's
You know what I
human
mean?
nature,
No,
right?
That's the thing.
Right.
Like
Of course.
when Crystal and I were in London, like we're leaving the Peloton studio, there's a line of people to get in waiting for the next class, and like people in the line recognize us,
Sure.
and want to talk to us and take like, yeah,
Of course.
like hey, how do you not?
You got it.
How do you not love
You
it?
know?
But some people naturally just get that and don't ask for it. Some people seek that out.
Yeah.
Some people don't care. There's different types of people, but Paul would love for people to
Yes.
want to talk to him.
Fawn over him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just but again, I think that it's the meaning goes so much deeper back into his past because he feels like he should have been someone. He should be a researcher. He should be publishing papers.
Right.
He feels he's stuck at Walter White is a high school chemistry teacher. Paul at least is a tenured professor at a
Right.
decent university, right? So he has more going for him even than Walter White does.
Yeah.
But he's still that's not what his goal was.
No.
His goal was to be an expert that is being invited to dinner parties and speaking and lecturing and all this. So,
And it's not happening.
No.
He's got this very
but now
vanilla life.
But now people want to talk to him and want to take pictures with him.
His kids want him to drive them to school.
Right, that's a big one, right? 'Cause
You know,
who can't
like-
relate
I mean,
to
this
the-
is ultimately his dream scenario, right? Like,
Yes.
he's famous and he didn't have to do anything.
Nope. He
right?
just
Like he
shows up
didn't-
in people's dreams.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think also, of course, there's a big cancel culture component, but this is also about the virality of fame on the internet.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure,
and,
sure.
And the ups and the downs, right? You can become famous overnight. You can also become infamous overnight.
Right.
Yeah. How many of those TikTokers are the ones that are just like, when somebody says something dumb on an airplane, there's a video of it and they dox the shit out of those people.
Or that lady who, this has been a few years, but she was going to Africa and she was like, going to Africa, tweeting,
Yeah.
going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS.
And then-
oh wait, it gets worse. LOL, I'll be okay. I'm white.
Oh,
And-
boy.
Plane takes off, no internet service.
Plane takes off on her flight to Africa, which is
Uh-huh.
like a 12-hour flight. And in the meantime, this tweet goes viral, and she
Oh, my
lands
God.
literally to a press contingent, and she's like,
She's fired from her job.
yeah,
and-
it's
For something dumb.
yeah.
And it's insensitive and not thinking clearly.
Trying to make an edgy joke
Yeah.
and missing the mark.
You
and-
ain't the one, lady.
Yeah.
But
that's-
that's how fast
yeah,
it can.
and dealing with that kind of fame, right? Because most human beings are not equipped for that kind of fame, and so you see these A-list celebrities, and some of them do things that seem crazy and whatever. But it's like you don't understand unless you're under.
Man,
that.
I see what happens with Crystal's phone when she posts something on
Oh, really?
Instagram. And she's got I don't know, 75, 80,000 followers. So a good number.
big
Imagine
number.
having 16
but
million
imagine
followers.
being even Patton Oswalt.
Sure.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I see like, I mean, she'll be trying to do something else on her phone, and it's just like she can't do it because there's
Kevin,
so
your
many
phone's not going off. You don't have to check
notifications
it.
coming.
Oh,
in.
sorry. I was just getting, No, but someone like, let's look at Patton Oswalt, who Patton Oswalt is an A-list celebrity. He's a very famous actor, but he's not like A-list.
Oh, I thought you said he is. I was like, no, he's
Yeah,
not.
no,
And
no,
I
but-
love Patton Oswalt, but
Sure.
like he doesn't open a movie.
That's what
No.
that's what I'm saying. Like, he isn't, but he has 4.5 million followers. Okay, here's one from last month. But like, he tweets this thing about adopting a cat, and it has 6,000 likes, and has 104 quote tweets and 121 retweets, or whatever you want to
Right.
call them these days. But just think about how much your phone is blowing up on that level,
Right.
and how you have to filter through things that you maybe need to see, definitely things that you can ignore and shouldn't see, and respond or whatever, just managing things on that level. And so
I'm assuming at that level you're using some sort of social media management interface,
Oh,
so
sure,
it
sure,
doesn't
sure.
take over your phone.
Destroy
in the same
your
way.
notifications are going
and
off.
then you
at
go into
24/7.
that app to deal
For
with
sure.
Twitter,
Okay,
is
that's
my
fair.
guess.
But yeah, it's just so Paul instantly he gets the fame that he's looking for overnight.
He's doing TV interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna go on Colbert. Like,
People
that's
are
one of the
recognizing
jokes.
him in the street.
Right.
They're wanting pictures. Like,
And I like this scene where a guy breaks into the, like, they have lived this life that is very mundane and very vanilla, if I can use that term,
Sure.
where they don't have to really worry about locking their doors, maybe. And there's a guy who obviously,
Yeah, they're in a nice neighborhood. It's an old
it's,
house.
It's not
and
the end of the world to
they're
not lock a window or
professor
a door.
and an architect or something. Like,
Right.
They're just no one's coming for them.
No. Well, I got to tell you, this is a terrifying scene. The way this is filmed looks like something out of a horror movie, and it feels so real.
Yeah.
That I was like uncomfortable watching this scene. So this guy
And it's not the most terrifying, suspenseful scene in this movie.
you don't think so?
No, there's another one.
Okay.
I think there's one that's anxiety inducing, and the way that there was one in eighth grade that was anxiety inducing.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
But look up videos about YouTube stalkers.
yeah.
Oh,
'Cause,
it's terrifying.
Definitely a commentary on. So he gets this overnight fame, and people
we
cannot.
had a guy.
Did you really?
Yeah, we had a guy that like somehow got our address and sent flowers to Crystal.
Shut up.
Yeah.
They got your address? Holy.
I mean, we do our best, but there's only so much you can do.
Sure.
I mean, I guess we could transfer our house into an LLC or something. I don't know.
Oh man.
But you look at these YouTubers that have 14 million, 20 million followers. I mean, that is a lot of people. And it's kind of like when people would watch TV and you're in their living room and you're their best friend, right?
What's the law of averages too, right? Like as far as mental health
But
goes.
with YouTube, it's such this direct connection to
Or
where,
podcast. It's
Or
what
podcast,
they
yeah.
refer to as a parasocial relationship.
Yeah,
sure.
And so it's like you listen to a podcast and you feel like you know that guy, or girl, lady, woman, whatever, all points in between, and that it's like, especially the way you tend to listen to podcasts, right?
Sure.
You tend to have headphones on. It's very much like getting pumped directly into your head, and so yeah, I feel like if I hung out with Mark Maron, we'd get along. I
Right.
feel like Ira Glass and I would be friends, right? Like you feel that way, but like, and then over time, especially Mark Maron talks so much about his personal life. You know so much about their life,
Right.
that you kind of forget that they don't know about
you.
yours.
Right.
You're just a face to them.
Not even that.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it's
they have-
so
you're
hard.
just
It's a
they have
download
face. They
number.
have face
Yeah, but
blindness.
it's so hard mentally to disconnect that because you listen to, whether it's daily, weekly, whatever, you listen so much and know so much about them.
Yeah.
Your brain just goes like, if you saw them, you'd be like, hey, whatever. But it's like, you're a person, like,
Right.
and it's not anything against not saying, oh, this is a celebrity that's too big. It's like they literally don't know you.
Right.
So you have to think of it as like if you went to the grocery store and talked to the person at the checkout that you'd never seen before, like your interaction to them is
Well,
the same as, because
I think I think of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Like, I think that's a prime example where you see them. Kelce has Travis Kelce, and that's the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Has a podcast.
I
with
think
his,
we know. Everybody
yeah,
knows.
I guess that's true. Has a podcast with his brother that is fantastic, but you see, like, you will never get that level of access to Taylor Swift, where he is like that. not gonna not a step below. That's not fair. But there's a level of access to him, and you see them like he talks. I don't know if he talks about the relationship, but you see the pictures of them at a concert or at a game or wherever, and it does give this feeling of like, oh, they're like me.
Right.
They're just normal people. And it's like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
Like, they're not normal people. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
They just have a different existence.
Honestly, like your level of access to him is rapidly diminishing the longer he's with Travis. The longer he's not with Travis Tritt. The longer he's with Taylor Swift.
Sure.
Yes.
And it has to.
Yeah.
Like,
They
like when
cannot.
people try to shame Taylor Swift because she takes private jets. Like, look, there are lots of reasons to not like private jets, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny because the people that are shaming her, they've never once complained about the environment.
No.
And damage to the environment. I mean, they never. But suddenly, because it's a way to target Taylor Swift, it's the most important thing in the world.
Gang up on
But
her.
like, in fairness to Taylor Swift, how the fuck is she supposed to take a commercial
Oh,
flight?
you're absolutely
She
right.
can't, that woman
She
cannot
would
take a
just
commercial
have
flight.
to buy the whole flight.
Yeah.
And then she's on a private.
Then she's
she's
back on a private jet.
Right, that's exactly. It's,
Yeah.
No, but people people are unreasonable.
I
That's
just,
just
I just think about that. I think about that video with Mike Tyson. Do you ever see that video?
Which one?
Where Tyson's on an airplane. And
Oh,
he's just
yeah.
minding his own business, and this guy.
That's what
yeah.
That's what happens when you're on a plane with a
Also,
celebrity.
just in reference to that, he's Mike Tyson.
I don't care if he is 58 years old.
I am not. I'll be like, hey, champ, thank you.
Unless
Take
you're
care of yourself.
also a heavyweight contender, there's no way you're going to go toe-to-toe with that guy,
No.
even if you're 25 and he's 50.
He's gonna hit you twice, and you're not gonna see it coming, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna be on the floor with your teeth in your asshole.
Yeah.
But so this I think is especially where the movie is talking about internet fame and instant celebrity, and then the downside and the scary side
Yeah.
is that people, you just don't know who now is targeting you and
Right.
what they might do. And yeah, this guy.
And I think this scene to me is kind of shows his worminess.
But then he does nothing.
He does nothing. And now, granted, I was putting myself in that situation where it's like, okay, I'm looking for different ways to disarm him. Whatever. For a guy who cannot fight to save his life, what does he do rather than put himself in front of his wife?
But look, the whole movie, he's been asking people about what does he do in their dreams, and he does
Right.
nothing.
Right.
And then this shows you in real life,
He does nothing.
this is how people view him because
It's what he does.
nothing.
Right.
It's just
he doesn't move to get in front of his wife. He doesn't move to get in front of his daughters. He just kind of freezes.
Yeah, he just tells them, like, the scene lingers there, and luckily this killer is so incompetent and really
I also
doesn't
think he's just mentally ill.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is that they're lucky that this was not someone that
Yes.
actually showed up
Right.
to do the job, because this guy crouches in the corner and he just waves the knife and is like, I'm sorry, I have to, and he's just doing nothing. But it lingers on this scene, and he has so much time to protect himself and the family, so much time to grab
Right.
anything, run away. The guy's just sitting there like this, and he's just like, he's doing nothing. And so that's
And this is to me.
now the detective talks to him, and
The detective's like, you left your door unlocked.
you're gonna have to lock your
You
doors, get a
idiots.
security system. And he's like, think about moving. And like, we're not moving.
Yeah, she's like, I grew up in this house. I'm
Well,
not
then
moving.
you better do something to protect yourself.
Get security,
And,
get cameras.
and he says
all
to the
of it.
guy, he's like, it seems like you didn't do anything.
Oh,
Like,
man.
like that's however he
Doesn't
says it.
seem
where-
like.
Yeah, it doesn't seem. Yeah.
So then he gets an offer to come to this like tech. I don't know.
It's like a PR firm.
Yeah, like a startup PR
It's like
firm.
a boutique PR firm.
With
But like
Michael
a
Cera.
social media, like
This is like one of my
influence.
favorite scenes.
Oh, this is
This is
great.
great.
Yeah.
This scene with all three of them is phenomenal, and I love that Michael Cera only plays against type now. Like he
Yeah.
started off doing kind of the same thing for so long,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's like, if I'm going to take a role, it's going to be something totally
Yeah, he
different.
doesn't do that voice anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's talking to Paul, and he's just like, look, we've got an opportunity here. Like we can.
I love how this starts with him kissing his ass, and then Paul's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do some big things together or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah. Oh, you want to write a book? Okay, yeah.
We got
So
you.
we're thinking. We've been talking to Sprite. I love how it starts as this whole thing that could be just like huge, and really he's like, "Yeah, we want you to sell ads in your."
And I guess because my background is like marketing and concerts, and I'm sitting there like, dude, just take the money.
Take the money.
Oh my
Take
gosh, of course.
the
Because
money.
you know how you write your book with Sprite money.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Like,
And
right,
O-
you
and
take-
Obama money.
You take the Sprite money and then you self-publish this ant book that nobody
Yeah.
cares about, right? Because
and then you did it.
yeah, like
This
that's-
guy is so clueless.
Yeah.
He is so full. And also, he's very full of himself, right? Like, as much as little as he
Yes.
does, he sure does think highly of himself.
Right.
And that's part of the problem, is he cannot get beyond this feeling that he's so important.
he has this odd mixture of like narcissism and low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
And it was just
He's
not
sitting
good.
sitting
No,
around doing
I was married to it.
he's sitting around doing nothing, wondering why people aren't showering with attention,
Right.
Yeah.
and getting book deals and all this, and it's like, dude.
Yeah, because you suck.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that's
you're not
kinda-
doing anything to get that
Yeah.
stuff.
Right. You want something to
But
hand it to
he
you.
thinks doing a commercial for Sprite is so
Is beneath him. Yeah.
Yet, how many celebrities and athletes who are super talented do endorsements and commercials with Sprite and Skittles?
God, when
and-
we were in London, it was so weird to see all these commercials
the celebrity ads that don't
with
yeah.
celebrities
with American
that,
celebrities.
that don't air here.
sure.
for like
Yeah.
perfume and
Wasn't there-
chips and
Yeah.
stuff.
There's
Like,
always the one there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger one from like Japan.
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
like
like a
Crazy
sports
Town.
drink or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Clooney, they all do these, and it's always for like some random for like chips. It's
Yeah.
like it's just like random product placement
Right.
stuff. But anyway, Paul, like, he cannot believe that they would invite him, the guy that people dream about, that does nothing. Literally, as we've talked about, he does nothing to make them dream of him. Right?
Yeah.
He's showing up in their dreams for no reason. He has put no effort in.
None. It just
does
it's
nothing.
a
I love
weird
the
phenomenon.
fact when Michael Cera's pitching this and he's like, oh, like, you know, you'll show up in somebody's dream holding a Sprite. We'll get people to dream about Sprite. And he's like, if it works, it'll be great. And he's like, you know what? If it doesn't work, well, then we've got a fun story about how we tried this thing that didn't work.
Right.
Like, it's like
It's
he's already planning for failure.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
great.
That's also, I wanted to be like, why don't you just advertise for a mattress? Like, why don't you Casper mattress or something? I don't
Well,
know.
but no matter what, he wouldn't do anything. He
Right.
showed up because he thought this advertising agency wanted to publish his
going to
book.
get him the book.
Yeah.
But the reason you wouldn't is because a thing like Casper mattress is very call to action, right?
Oh, sure.
So like I think in a
I guess
dream
you're already asleep.
in a dream setting, a call to action sort of ad isn't going to work. You're going to need an ad that's more about branding. So you're going to need a soda, a beer, a fast food restaurant
Fair.
where you're just
which is what we see later.
yeah, which is what you're just trying to
Awareness,
Yeah,
just-
it's just general awareness to keep a brand top of
It's
mind.
the,
and there's a handful of brands that can advertise like that because have to already be a household name for simply a sign that says Coke to
Correct.
work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
If you just put up a sign that says Casper mattress,
You're like, what the hell's that?
it doesn't really mean
And
much.
Anheuser-Busch. I mean, all the
Right.
funny ads. Like, people know beer,
Right.
Budweiser. I mean, but you have to keep
But you
plugging.
have to
Yeah.
get your brand to that point
Yeah.
first before you can pivot to ads like that.
This has been Freakonomics.
Thank you.
Brought to you by Real Spoilers.
Yes. I am Stephen Dubner.
So yeah, he goes to this meeting, and of course he poo-poos the entire Sprite thing. And I do love this scene where Cera just kind of turns around and like looks out the window, and in my head I was like, oh, this is the turn where he's gonna be a but and even like the
I thought something
assistant-
really weird was going to happen.
I thought
he was-
I thought it was gonna be like, look, you mother.
but
like,
he
this
was
is
just
what we're doing.
taking this
He
like
was gonna be
comically
like
long.
Ned Beatty and
Yes.
and
But
the
network?
network.
But
Yes.
he took this comically long and awkward time to reset because he's like, let's start over. And he turns around. And you think that's where you just spin back around. Like, hi,
Right.
nice to meet you. He takes
He
a minute
holds
to
it.
It's a
reset.
whole different reset.
And so he's in this meeting with Molly and Mary. Molly is like the assistant
Yeah.
that greets him at the door. And in the elevator, this is the first time anyone tells him they have a dream and he doesn't just stand there.
Right.
And she kind of hints at it at first, right?
well, he's like, do I
He's-
behave? And she was like, oh no.
Oh no, you don't. And that's the first time we've heard anyone say that he doesn't just stand there because
Right.
he's making a joke like that's his like cool guy like,
Right.
oh, do I behave? And she's like,
No.
And then that's all.
Sarah
like,
makes a joke about it in the meeting.
well, when he's like, do you want to tell me more about it? And she's like, no.
No.
And so they go into the meeting and they're talking about dreams. And then, yeah, she's been having some crazy dreams about you. And he's like, what?
And then so they go back into the elevator, and the meeting goes kind of the way that he
And
wants it to.
Kate Berlant is the other actor that's in there. And I just think she's really good. I like
They're
her.
both very good.
They're all good in this scene, but I just think her facial expressions, the way she's like going along with things and
Yeah.
trying to like, they're doing the ad agency thing. You know, if you're
Yeah.
ever in
It's
marketing
very much the
meetings
second in
and
command,
trying
like,
to sell
oh, no.
things and be positive about everything that's happening. And I just thought she was great.
Yeah. So they get back in. It's Molly and Paul back in the elevator, And Molly's just, she's trying not to flirt with him, but she's trying to do I'm not flirting, but I am flirting.
Yeah.
And she's like, how long are you in town? And he's like, oh, I'm just going to catch a flight in the morning. She's like, well, if you, wanted to grab a drink. And he's like, why? And she's like, just whatever. And then they end up going to have a drink together. And I was like, dude, this gal is going to break you in half. Like, you don't have
But it's
any
also
idea.
played in this fascinating way where it's like you can tell she's not attracted to him
At all.
but she's also intrigued because of her dream.
And her dream is very intense.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very intense sex dream for her. And
Yeah.
this person who has been like this thing in a dream is now literally sitting in front of her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I gotta know.
Right.
I gotta know.
Yeah.
So they go back to her place.
Well, so she tells him about it first.
That's right,
They're
that's
at
right.
the bar. They're talking. People are staring at him. Whatever. And it's just a very weird.
He also dresses like a douchebag. Like, he's always got like the zip up sweater.
Because he wants to be he is a professor, but he wants to be like an expert. He dresses like a world renowned whatever.
He's
you know
got
what I mean?
that giant like coat with I gotta tell you, the hood was driving me bananas. I was like, can you just push the hood down? Like, golly. But he never takes the jacket off until he gets to the apartment.
But so he's like, they're talking, and he's very much nerdy and awkward, and just has nothing. All the stuff he says, and the same with everybody, is not interesting. No one likes talking to this guy, and so you can tell she's just like, yeah, this was a mistake.
Well, but she doesn't. She thinks it's a mistake, but she's like, I'm still gonna try it.
Well, right, but then he's like, tell me about your dream, and then so you see it play out.
Right, it is gross.
And this is the first dream that isn't just him standing there doing
But
nothing.
I will say, this is the second scene that scared the crap out of me, is him like in the corner, and much like Hereditary, we're like, am I looking at something? Like, what am I looking at? Where you
Yeah.
can kind of see his silhouette, but you're not entirely sure that you're looking at something.
So Joe, tell us about this sexy dream.
It was not fun to watch. Nicolas Cage.
Well, not as this character,
Yeah,
certainly.
no, thank you.
But
Basically, he like
he comes out of the
takes
corner
control
and,
and he dominates her, and it's not in a like unwanted way. Like, everything's in
but
the
it's
dream.
also the like
It's like
it's the fantasy. Yeah.
It's like it's like what they would now call a ravishment fantasy.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like-
that's exactly it.
She's, who are you? Whatever. And he comes out of the corner. He doesn't say anything, and he just starts
Does what he's gonna do.
manipulating
Yes,
her.
correct.
And like in her ear and neck. And what does she say? Alluding, we knew what would happen, right? Because someone says at some point in the movie, she's like, he's like, do I do anything? And she's like, yeah, we or
Yeah,
something.
right.
So
She
he's-
definitely like does not
drops
sugarcoat
that at some point.
Yes.
And then so we see the whole thing play out. And
Like
then,
I think it's like the most intense orgasms I've ever had.
yeah, like
Like
it's
when
great.
she wakes up.
And so he's like, this is the first time anyone has given him that kind of attention.
Right.
I mean, so far the attention has just been you're there, and he's been constantly craving not only attention, but he wants someone to actually care about him or find him attractive or whatever.
Yes.
And so now that he has this, he doesn't want to cheat on his wife, but also this is the first time anyone has really noticed
And then he
him.
also like he gets a little nervous about this guy Chris, who works in his wife's office.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Oh, you think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think so. Not from those the first time we see them interacting, I didn't think that at all.
I think I would agree, but like once she's on the project,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got instant. I mean, when you're in London and you call back home and there's a guy at your house and
Yeah.
the kids aren't there.
That's fair.
And she didn't tell you. I mean, all she has to
Right.
do is say, Chris is coming over to work. Like, she didn't tell him until he called
Right.
and he hears a guy there with her.
That's
like,
fair. That's fair. Oh no, she was still at the office,
oh, they're at the, okay.
but it doesn't matter.
Okay, because he said, where are the kids? So I thought they were at the house. But they're alone together. And,
yes.
it just...
And that's the other thing is like because of Paul's fame, Janet got to get on this project that she wanted to get on because everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I know. You're the wife of the guy in everybody's dreams."
Yeah.
So she's also benefiting from the dreams. Oh boy.
So once he hears that she's alone with Chris, and he feels that essentially it's kind of seemed. I think he feels that she's going to cheat on him.
Right.
'Cause he's very uncomfortable with the situation, and then she's like, "Hey, I can't help myself. I want to try something." And so I think he kind of goes along with it to get back at her, even though I don't believe anything was happening at the office. But
Yeah.
I do believe it was set up that it did feel like Chris had
So this is
some-
the turn, right?
Yeah.
Like this is when the dreams turn. Is when
right
he
because
screws up.
because he does something bad.
Right.
He should have never put himself in that position. And I do feel like he was kind of going in. It's hard to differentiate between the two. I don't feel that he said, yes, I'm going to go cheat on her now. But I think he felt like
he wanted to see if what she was hinting at was real.
Right.
But then also, if you put yourself in that position,
Yes.
you have no one to blame but yourself.
For
Correct.
sure.
Because you don't put yourself in that position thinking, well, nothing will happen. Like, I mean,
Also, like this, she is a very, and I mean this in the best. She's a very assertive woman, and he is a very submissive dude. Where she's like, we're doing this. I'm gonna go change clothes. You're gonna go stand over there in the corner. Like, no, she's like, no, a little bit further. A little bit further.
But you don't put yourself in the position where someone says, I've been having sex dreams about you, and hey, come back to my place.
Right,
We've been
right,
drinking,
right,
and I want
right,
to try
right.
something. I mean, what do you think?
Right.
What do you think's
Play
gonna happen?
Parcheesi?
Yeah. Right.
So he put himself in, and he has no one to blame but himself.
He didn't put himself in.
And it's all based on his wanting to feel important and loved.
Couldn't
and,
even get to that part
Yeah.
because he.
Yeah.
But clearly, yeah, it just shows you he's not aggressive or assertive or.
I thought I was the only one in the theater when I saw it because I saw it like a very early,
Yeah.
and I didn't expect. And this scene when he farts, like I audibly laughed, and I like heard movement in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, sorry." And then like she's like, he farts because he's nervous.
Oh, it's very natural.
Yeah, when you're nervous, she's like, "Okay, fine." And then she goes back to his belt, and she can't get his belt, and of course he. Finishes very, 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 very early,
take his belt
and
off.
then farts again, and it's
So-
like, God,
This
just
scene is so awkward.
get out,
Yes,
man.
And he does. He
Abort,
runs away.
abort,
He
get
runs
out.
away.
So now he goes home, doesn't say anything, but now everything is different.
But don't we flash forward from here, or at least soon after, we cut forward to people's dreams?
we start seeing the
Yeah.
kid
And he's
getting
murdering
clubbed.
them.
Yeah, it's
And
very
very graphic. This is like Drive in the elevator level of murder.
Well, nobody gets their. I mean, maybe a little bit.
What the guy? You see him getting smashed. In
Yeah,
the
but
head.
that guy in Drive gets like you see his skull shards.
I know,
and-
but it's the not pull away type of violence.
That is true.
It is.
Yes,
You
you're
see
watching
it
it happen.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
and that's every dream that we're having. So now his class is
yeah.
gone, and everybody's like, we don't really want to be around you. And this is hard for me because he didn't do anything. Right? Like I understand that like the psyche is there. I get it.
I said to my wife, I'm like, this is like the worst of both worlds.
Yes.
You basically cheated on your wife, but you
Without-
didn't actually get to cheat on your wife.
but you're also like they're making him responsible for the dreams.
Well, how many times have you guys had a partner where they have a dream about you cheating on them and they're mad at you?
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's a thing that I think is pretty common. And it doesn't say it, not that it lasts forever, but like they're like mad at you and you're like, I didn't do anything.
I would get texts in the middle of the night at work. She's like, "Oh man, you were a dick in your dream." And I was like, "Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know."
I think
Like-
that's just something that I've heard that story multiple times where someone's partner gets mad at them for a dream.
Yes.
And I just thought this is such a
this is
common-
like turn it up to 11,
Yeah.
right? So this dude's world starts falling apart because
People are turning on him.
They
The backlash has begun.
He got famous for no reason.
Yep.
Right.
And he got infamous for no
reason. So his class is diminished, and kids will not come to his class. His kids are getting made fun of at school. His wife is kicked off the project, and
And he's like been sent on a vacation.
yeah, he's been correct.
Said
He's
you take
gonna
a vacation.
use
Tim
some
Meadows. Tim Meadows is his boss. At the,
I was like, hey man,
the
Tim Meadows is
president
still around.
of the
That's great.
university. Yeah, and they have some good scenes together. And I like when he comes in. Have you been dreaming of me?
I've been dreaming of
what? And but he basically
Was he the longest running cast member on SNL?
No, he was at one point
Until
as
Keenan
Keenan now.
Okay.
And I know Phil Hartman was like 12 seasons or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he was.
Really?
I feel like
Oh,
Tim
wow.
Meadows would just show up and,
And
was like, man.
Daryl Hammond.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
especially if you count him now that he's the announcer.
Right.
But
Even before that, he would
but
just-
because they kept Daryl Hammond for a long time because he was basically just like a utility player.
Right.
He wouldn't write or do any of the other stuff. They would just be like, "We need these 3 impressions this week."
There's a guy on there
and
now
he'd show up on Fridays. Yeah, the guy who does
who
their Trump.
looks eerily and sounds like Daryl
That
Hammond.
guy's great.
Yes.
What is his name? John?
I don't know. He's very-
James.
this is a-
James. God, James. It's James something.
This is a
but
really solid cast.
He is.
I like this cast a lot.
But that James Arnold. Well, I can't remember what his name is, but he's really freaking great.
Yeah. Which is, I think that's
impressions.
why Baldwin said he wasn't going to do anymore. Well, Baldwin said he was. I'm going to let
Baldwin.
What did I say?
It sounded like you're saying Baldwin. You were saying it fast. I just
I was like,
Baldwin.
wait a minute. Now my head's messed up.
Baldwin.
But yeah, so that he was doing Trump forever, and then I think he finally says like, I'll just let a cast member do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't bring me on.
This guy's Trump is better. It's more.
It is better.
It's a more accurate representation of how Trump speaks.
Yeah.
Of just like
Oh, it sounds
Baldwin was
just
very
the
like
word salad gibberish.
Yeah, no, this guy, he's got the tone down. It sounds like him, but it's like the way he speaks, the rhythm.
He's got that little
there? Yeah.
gobble neck.
So
which I
good.
think the makeup's pretty great.
I love it when he does the thing when he shows up. I don't know if they've done it at all this season, but when he shows up on Weekend Update and then goes through like the 7 items real quick as Trump, and he's like, that's so funny.
He is very funny. But now everybody's turned on him, and
then no one is taking his side. He's like, I didn't do anything, whatever. And whoever he talks to, like Tim Meadows, is like, yeah, I think this is best to just do whatever.
Go home, and
his wife is like, well, yeah, maybe you should stop doing interviews or like just
but he
stop
did
all
stop,
this.
and then he does this apology video. And as I'm watching,
before the apology video, he goes back or he leaves class after he's leaving or whatever to go home, and they've spray painted his car.
Yeah.
The apology video is for his blow up.
Yes,
basically.
and they painted loser on his car, and I was like, yeah, I'd be pissed off too.
The school name, I just feel like I need to point this out, is an anagram for loser.
Oh,
what
is it really?
What is the school?
Ostler.
Oh,
it
that's
is
funny.
Ostler.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good
that's
call.
really good.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
They spray painted his car, but he's having a meltdown because his life is falling apart. And again, like, I mean,
This is where the movie loses.
when things are out of your control, it is hard not to be upset. Like, I didn't do anything, whatever, you know? And so his
I
life.
think this part of the movie is great.
Okay,
Where I won't say it loses me, but where it diminishes itself is the technology aspect at the end.
Oh,
But
sure.
Yeah.
That feels like something out of Her.
that feels where it gets very Black Mirror.
Yeah.
and
But-
not in a good way. And I love Black Mirror.
Sure.
but yeah.
Yeah, but he blows up at these kids and he says, "Well, you're all effing babies," and he's cursing at them and whatever. He's having a total meltdown.
Yeah, he definitely
Goes
has
viral.
like a right wing snowflake kind of like reaction to these.
But I will
kids.
also say, like, their requests and their like need for a safe space is dumb, right? Like, it's like
I
it's just a
agree.
dream. Ultimately, this guy has no control over.
Oh,
any
that's
of
what
it.
it's after. He's already left and taken his vacation, but he comes back one time because they have like a counselor come in.
Yeah.
And to try to, the whole class is there, just like, here's a picture. He's a nice guy. Come in, Paul. And this is another one of those tense moments
where he's just kind of like, I thought this was a dream initially.
I thought he was going to kill the teacher. I
Yes,
thought it was a
yes,
dream.
yes.
But
I
it
was really glad they didn't do head fakes with dreams. Like,
Yeah.
if it was a dream, it was normally established pretty quickly it was a dream, because I hate when movies
I
do
thought
that.
the one.
But they are
at
allowed
the-
one. Like at this counseling, if it was
Yeah.
a dream and you're like, all the kids are like, you know, nervous, and the counselor's like, it's okay, it's a safe space, and he comes closer and then he like tears her head off. And, like,
Right.
I feel like they could do one, but yeah, I agree. I don't want constant.
I thought the
head
one at
fakes
the
of-
school with his daughter was a dream.
Yeah.
I
And
guess
I
the
was
head
like,
fake was
holy
the
cow.
student that he breaks the first time when he goes. There's like 2 students that first see him in their dreams, and you know we kind of follow them. He sees
Yeah.
them in the hallway.
Yeah.
Well, he goes to her door when things are kind of falling apart, and you think like he's just got to talk to her about something about class, and she's like, "I'm busy." Like, it's very creepy, you know. He's like, "Let me in." Like, that is a head fake because it starts off you don't know it's a dream.
Yeah. Right.
And then he murders
So initially,
her,
I
right?
thought that was going to be like this girl fed that doctor, because we see the doctor has published this book, this article in Nature magazine, and it refers to his.
It steals his verbiage, because he even
Yes.
says, like, when she's like, well, a lot of people study the same thing, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but you didn't say intelligence,
And
right?
she goes, "I don't want intelligence."
It's
And then she
dumb,
uses it.
or-
and then
yeah.
later on, she's published.
I
and of
initially
course
thought that first student was going to be like
I
he was
see.
feeding her this other woman information.
But anyway,
But yeah, so he ends up like his.
they're embarrassed by his meltdown. He has a total
Yes.
meltdown tantrum. The family's embarrassed.
and
People
then
don't want.
Oh, that's right. And then he has a dream about himself killing himself.
Yeah.
And so
This is
he-
the first time he's seen himself in a dream.
Right.
And it's, the killer dream, where it's a really cool sequence. I mean, this movie looks great. This is done by the same
It does.
cinematographer who did Mandy.
Oh, that tracks.
It is a very similar
yep,
look.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense.
Benjamin, I'll look him up. His first
I wonder
name
if
is
it's a Nicolas
Benjamin.
Cage guy.
It might be, but I think Mandy might have been the only other one. But
Didn't he
but
do?
this
He
guy
did do
is
the Color of Space
Based
and
on a
Time?
Barry Manilow song?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, he didn't do Color of Space, which is another great Nicolas Cage movie.
Those two, Mandy and Color of Space, back to back are wackadoo movies in the best possible
But this is
way.
a crazy movie where someone in like camo and a hunting hat and a crossbow is chasing him through his neighborhood, and they're shooting him. It looks really good and it's scary and intense. And then you get to the guy and you see his face and it's him.
It's right. And he goes online and he makes this video, and it's the most. I honestly believe that he was trying to be sincere, and it just came off as the most insincere thing he could do.
Well, he was trying to be sincere for sure, but this is a total commentary on YouTuber apology videos.
Yes.
Because they do this terrible stuff, but then they make a video that makes him look 10 times worse because they won't just own up to it. Because he in his own naive way was trying to be sincere, but what does he do? He also
makes
goes,
it about
now,
him.
Yeah, now I know how you feel. No, really, because now I know the terror.
I have a lived
it's him.
experience.
Yeah, so now please relate to me and whatever, because look what I've gone through.
Right.
Whatever. So he's trying to say like I understand, but make it about himself.
The daughter's reaction is my favorite. She's like, "Well, I'm just gonna have to kill myself. I don't know what else to do." And his wife is like, we're done." And I do think it's like, man, you turned on him real quick. Like, you can't blame him for what you can blame him for the video. You can blame him sort of for blowing up on those kids, but like, he hasn't done anything.
But I do kind of wonder if this was a long time coming. They've been together for 15 years, and you see how this guy is.
Their marriage seemed pretty tepid.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think this was
like
the straw that broke the camel's
Yeah.
back.
I got you.
I agree, because I also did think their relationship was
Just
kind
like Rose Byrne. All you had to do.
But Jesus, we definitely know who the monster of this podcast is.
Not me.
No,
Rose Byrne. That's who it is.
Yes. It's always the person going, "It's not me. It's not me. I didn't do anything." Say that, Joe. I didn't do anything.
I'm not
Who
gonna
does
say
that
that.
sound like? So anyway, they have this kind of cute relationship, and I agree. But I just kept thinking, like, why are you with this guy, right? Because
Well,
like,
I thought about the other woman too. Like when he goes in that, when he sees his ex-girlfriend, it's like, what did you see in this guy?
But they're exes.
That's true.
Right?
But I'm
She
saying,
saw
like,
something
They
in
saw
him.
something.
Oh,
They
I
had-
know,
yeah.
but we don't know how. It didn't necessarily last that long. I'm just saying this woman's been married to him for 15 years.
Right.
And that's great. If it works for them, that's great. I'm not saying, but you see the way he acts, and I just kept thinking, like, what is she getting out of this? Why are they? But it was kind of cute. And then when it just falls apart, I agree.
Quickly.
It seems quick, but I do think that she's been for 15 years probably questioning, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's
this guy
fair. That's
is
fair.
a self-absorbed, wimpy, just narcissist,
wormy guy.
Yeah, but he's a narcissist that has like no reason
Yeah.
to feel like a
But yeah,
narcissist.
we should say that he gets invited to the special party. Nobody shows up except for him because he's a psychopath in the people's dreams.
Yeah.
And then even this guy's wife is like, I can't do this. And she's, the guy's like, look, she had a pretty rough day at work. And we get a flashback of Nicolas Cage murdering her while
I
she's
like
at
the
work.
little flashes when he's around people. You start to see little flashes of what he does in their dreams.
their dreams,
and
yeah.
it's you just for real quick. You see him strangling someone or whatever. And
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. So then,
She just couldn't handle it. Like these dreams are so traumatizing to these people. Like they're so real. They're these vivid dreams,
Yeah.
and he is murdering them in super violent ways. So people can't be around him in real life.
Yeah, which I do. Again, it's just like, okay, I hear it. I know there's a line in this where like he talks about trauma, and I do believe that trauma is real. I don't think that a dream is trauma. If it's just a dream, I think if it's a dream that maybe that's some of your trauma, right? Like if it's something that happened to you, whether it's a car accident or an assault or something.
But this is a reoccurring dream. He's
it a-
murdering them constantly. This is
So they're saying that they're having this dream every night.
or a lot, yeah.
Okay,
He's not just doing
I
it
was,
once. and
I
you're
was
like,
thinking that
this
it was like
guy's
a one-time thing.
He is Freddy Krueger.
which
mean,
they reference a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
That glove is great for the photo. What a great photo shoot.
Yes.
That's a cool idea.
Can't use the real one.
But
We'll
no,
just get, like, a medieval one.
he is terrorizing them in their dreams. So I think
Okay.
But again, not his fault, right? So we
Right.
have to.
But I also get like, and this is where I think like the right might glob onto this movie, is because I do feel like we have defined trauma down quite a bit, and to some degree that's fair, but there's also a point where it's like I see this post on Facebook every time. I always think this every time I see it, but it's that post where somebody's like, you should always be kind because you don't know what battle
Yes.
someone is fighting. I'm like, okay, well, when I'm not being kind, you don't know what battle I'm fighting, so go fuck yourself. Like, right? Like, so, but that's the like
Absolutely.
snake eating its
Yeah.
own tail
Yes.
downward spiral you can also fall into if you
Sure.
don't use a little critical thinking.
Correct.
But if I mean, I like the idea behind that though, because if everyone acted that way,
For
then you wouldn't
sure.
have people being
But-
jerks.
but it's about balance,
of course,
right? Like
you
that,
can't
you know.
can't let people walk all
Yeah.
over you or do terrible things and say like, oh well, maybe they're having a bad day. But instead of just jumping to this person's a piece of crap and they should die in a fire, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, right,
Like,
right.
Maybe they're having a bad day.
It's having an off day. It
I tried
happens.
to like if you go to the grocery store or Walmart or whatever, and God, if you had to work at Walmart, I get
man.
it. And the person's like not that nice to you. It's like I'm like, okay, they're probably not enjoying their job. They probably just dealt with someone that was a total asshole to them or whatever. You know what I mean? Just like to try to like, okay, it's whatever.
It's whatever. Like you're just having. I get it. It's fine.
But yeah, I get it. Balance for sure.
Yes. So now Michael Cera has to call him, and he's like, "Look, this thing is off the rails. We need to pivot." And he's just like, "We may need to
He's like, the
like
Sprite
start
thing-
focusing
he's-
on
he's like, the Sprite thing is gone."
MAGA hats and
Yeah,
alt right.
That's off the table. Like,
He's like, "What about Obama?" And they're
about
like,
Obama?
"No."
Yeah.
He's like, "But
He's like the whole corporate thing is not going to
we
work.
did get you an interview time with Tucker Carlson." And it's
Yeah.
like, "Ah, God."
Well, no,
I can get you on Rogan.
Well,
was,
no,
I think
yeah,
what somebody said.
They said maybe we need to get you on Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson, yeah, or Joe
So,
Rogan. Or, yeah.
have you heard of a comedian named Matt Rife
Oh, I have heard of Matt Rife.
who's getting canceled because his audience is women, and he starts off his Netflix special with abuse and getting the kitchen jokes,
It's a domestic violence joke.
yeah.
And
and getting the women should get in the kitchen joke. But what was his first interview after all this controversy?
I don't know, what was it?
He ran to Jordan Peterson.
Did he really?
So I'm like, when this movie came out, it was
weird.
not reactionary. I mean, the
Yeah.
movie's been out. It was at Sundance, whatever. It was been out for months at festivals. I'm just like, holy crap, did they get that right? Because
Yeah.
this
Man,
is
that
exactly the playbook. You
It
get
is.
canceled. You go to the side that is against cancel
I
culture.
don't even think like the joke it's not a good joke.
What's
but the Matt
Oh,
Rife, it's not
well,
a good
that's a
it's-
whole different
it's-
discussion. But I just,
But at the same time, it's like
but you could get canceled and not go to. I mean,
yeah, going straight to that
but Joe,
guy.
did you see his response?
About the
Oh yeah.
If you would like my apology video, click this link, and then it sends you to a website to buy a special needs helmet.
That
I mean,
does-
he's
that-
just doubling down,
Yeah.
and what side doubles down, never admits the wrong. He could actually apologize,
Which
and
is-
maybe he doesn't want to.
and
But
it's weird because when you see his crowd work, like he always his crowd work is really good, and
Mm-hmm.
he always like there's never been a tinge of that
well,
stuff.
here's the problem. So he got famous for crowd work.
Yeah.
You see 15-second TikTok videos, and then you go see his whole special or
Right.
watch his whole special. I went to it. Me and Katie were like, "This isn't funny." Like,
But he
not-
sold that place out, right?
because people
Yeah.
he could have ridden this wave to superstardom, but he just he told some jokes that weren't even that funny, and then he doubled down, and now he's going on Jordan Peterson, which means next, if he's still canceled, he's gonna go on all these, and it's just crazy to see someone throw away a career. He had the world by the balls.
Oh, and it was fast.
Yes, he went
It
from and he's been around for a long time.
He was on
Now-
Wild 'N Out?
Yeah, now
Yeah.
mind you, it's not fast in his career, but
Right.
his popularity was fast.
Sure.
And he was selling places out. And then I just feel like if you had a PR team that said, "Hey, you need to either just not say anything or let's let it cool off, or maybe do an apology, even if you don't think you should, like maybe the right move
Here's the thing:
PR-wise."
Dave Chappelle can get away with that joke.
Yes, because he's Dave Chappelle.
he's Dave
and he will
Chappelle.
still sell places. He'll be fine. He's a multimillionaire.
Yep.
This guy,
Matt
I mean,
Rife. Maybe you should get back.
he's
on
gonna
Wild
go on a tour with Jim Brewer and Rob Schneider.
Well,
I mean that's
those are two MAGA guys.
what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that, but
Yeah.
but look at them. They now who is their fan base?
yeah.
Louis
And-
C.K.
Yeah.
Is he a MAGA guy?
He's not a mega guy,
But
but
he got canceled
But
for sure.
he got canceled, and like that's what his crowd is now.
Interesting.
So it's just it's crazy.
Which is funny because he's not that kind of
He's
guy.
not that guy.
He hates those people.
Same thing about Bill Burr.
Yeah, but because he got canceled,
Yeah, but Bill Burr isn't cancelable. That's
No,
the thing.
that's true.
That's the thing. He's smart because he says whatever he wants, but he's not a MAGA guy.
No.
He's liberal,
No.
but he calls out everyone and he makes fun of everyone, right? No one. He's like South Park in a person, right? Like, but he just makes fun of everybody.
That's a good call.
But he's just been so adopted by, like, that's his comedy, and you like can't cancel him. But he's not going to one side or the other. He's just like, you're all idiots.
You're
he
all
will just
idiots.
tell you you're all. And so he has owned that and whatever.
That's funny. So anyway,
But this is exactly what just happened with Matt Rife, and it's crazy that this movie's like, yeah, you can go on Jordan Peterson, Tucker Carlson, whatever, and it's like, wow, this is happening right now.
Yeah.
So
man, that's and I did like that guy's crowd work. It was really good.
yeah, it was hilarious. And then go watch his special. I don't know.
I'm good.
Well, that's the problem when it comes to comedy. Like, you need to give people some space, because
people being the audience or the comedian?
Because it's like, as they're getting there, they're going to say things.
Yes.
If you want edgy comedy, sometimes they're going to miss the mark.
Yeah.
Right. And so now the problem here is this isn't him building a special. He put it on his special.
He had an hour special.
It made it through the screening process, that particular joke. But I think...
And the same joke is how he starts his show live, too. So that was his thing.
Yeah.
He goes like, I'm just testing the water. He starts off with a really, really edgy joke.
Right.
And no one in the audience was like totally cracking over it. We were all just like, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Because it's not
Interesting.
that funny of a joke. Like, I
Right.
get being edgy, but like, it's not even that funny. Why would you lay it all on the line for that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I will also say, I think ultimately part of the problem with cancel culture, and I hesitate to use that because it's like...
I've started, like, somebody said it's consequence culture.
Right.
And I was
Because
like,
it's
okay,
like...
I'm
yeah,
okay with that.
But
I'm okay
there
with
also
that.
doesn't seem to be a path back. Right?
A
Like,
redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and so, I mean, I think that, like, if we want people to have consequences, I don't think, it needs to be a binary choice of like, and you never get to work again.
That's the balance you spoke
which
of.
is why people end up gravitating towards to this MAGA crowd, because they're like, oh, fuck your feelings, unless it's Taylor Swift says dads, chads, and brads, and suddenly it's like,
Feelings
oh,
are
that's
very
mean to me.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
Pick your battles, bro.
yeah, like so.
But there has to be balance. I
Right.
agree. That's the problem. And it's the same
There,
thing
there
with...
needs to be a space to allow people to say, yeah, in retrospect,
Right.
I should. That's not what I meant to say.
I think
and I was
Jake-
trying to be edgy, and I was trying to push the limits, and like that didn't land how I wanted it to.
I think James Gunn is a pretty good example of that.
And I think James Gunn only pulled it off because he had kind of already gone through the process.
Yeah.
So and it was such a ginned up controversy.
Sure.
Right? We found this thing from 12 years ago that you had already apologized for.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring it back. And
I'm so glad they let him come back, because that would have been a terrible mistake.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah, I think
but that's what this movie's saying.
the amount of people that were able to recoup after being canceled is real small.
Yeah. You got to be super, super talented. And James Gunn is super talented.
Yeah.
And they brought him back because they realized we need him to make hundreds of millions of dollars with this movie. So, like, you're willing to give people a shot when it comes to the monetary. Like, we'll roll the dice.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just some Joe Schmo and
But
you get canceled.
I think if James Gunn had done that same tweet in real time,
That's a problem.
and it wasn't a 10 or 12-year-old tweet,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think he would have come back. I
Probably
don't think they
not.
would have brought him back.
No, I agree with you. No, he had an out that it was already
Right.
done in the past. But that's what this movie's saying, right?
Yeah.
This guy gets canceled for something he literally did not do.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I think this movie is a commentary on cancel culture. It has a lot to say. There's a ton
Well,
of that.
and then we get to the end of this movie, and his life is ruined. His life is completely. He's divorced. He has to get his own place. He does get his book, but his book signing gets
Well, he says
only in
he says they
France.
love you in France. He goes, I don't know, like, no one will touch you here, but in France they love you. We don't know why,
They
but
love- I don't know.
no, that's what Michael Cera says.
No,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know why, but so he goes to France.
He goes, yeah. He's like, you're gonna do an interview with Rue Morgue, and I was like, Rue Morgue, that's a dope ass magazine. Like, well done. But they're making him do all of these ridiculous poses, and of course they give him the medieval Freddy glove,
That was
and he
great.
puts it on, and he's like, I'm not wearing this, and he's like, oh, you're wearing it.
But he's talking to the people, and at this point, he still wants to be the guy that's like, I'm better than this, but he's just like looking at his situation.
And he
He's
just
like,
leans into
he's like,
it.
I'm not. He's finally realizing he's like, what do I have left at this
Right.
point? So he does the thing, and he looks unhappy doing it.
And
But
he's signing the books. He gets hit in the head with a light that breaks off. But then we see this, which I thought was going to be the end of the movie. Then we get this weird ad for basically it's her. It's the bracelet that allows you to enter other people's dreams. Which I was also like, if you're doing it consciously, that seems a little assaulty. Like to actively put yourself into somebody's dream and try to advertise there.
The way I looked at this is it's the commercialization of everything. The way that people, so they've got this phenomenon. The whole movie revolves around this guy who everyone's dreaming about. They don't know why. Right? He's doing nothing to cause it.
Right.
It's just happening. So, of course, what are corporations going to do?
Jump
we need to
all over
find
it.
a way to harness this and sell it, right? It's like people that want to like sell ads on the moon or whatever, right? Like people are going to find ways to make money on this stuff. So now we go into, of course, the corporations have found a way to scientifically make this shared dream thing between if you wear this bracelet that the director said is
so I guess that's the thing,
you
right?
have
Like
to-
You have to wear. I took it as
Okay.
you have to wear the
You're
bracelet.
inviting
I
people
initially
to-
thought that it was
Yeah.
like they're just invading people's dreams and
No.
showing them these stupid
No,
shoes.
because it's
or-
through technology. So you
Okay,
have to
okay,
be in the
okay.
network, and they say like you have to like welcome. You're syncing in and all your whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but you're right. It's the movie was I think a little better when it was in this shrouded in this mystery, and you don't know why, and it doesn't need an explanation. And now they're bringing up like, oh, now we can technologically do this, which is just mumbo jumbo. It's the
Right.
stuff they're saying.
Makes
isn't-
sense.
That's
Yeah.
where it gets very Black
Yeah.
Mirror.
But
for
it's
me.
also that this is another instance where Paul was kind of the leading guy in this, and now he's
He gets
just
no
another,
credit, right?
Now
It's
he's just
all-
a consumer.
It's all thanks to him, but he doesn't
Right.
get any credit. He doesn't get any. Yeah.
And they
Right.
talk about how like, well, he's kind of caused a negative stereotype for this technology, which isn't fair.
right,
And-
because he's like, I
yeah.
didn't do.
But
didn't
like
do
without this, the movie doesn't have an ending.
Right.
yeah. So the ending
Right.
of this is
So he's
earlier.
getting his apartment. The kids are moving in, and
They don't like
they
it.
don't
It
like
smells
it. And
funny.
it's a bummer, but it's like this.
Gotta
is
tell you, been there. That's
He's-
cool.
he's been reduced down to nothing, though. He's got everything taken away from him.
But he's like, it's also interesting because he has this interaction earlier with his wife where she's like, you know, that time I went to the Halloween party and you wore the talking head suit. She's like, yeah, that's your fantasy. So that he figures out how to get into. Is he getting into her dream,
Well, it's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
or you think that's his dream? But so either way,
I don't know, but
He's
that's
in this
But here's
dream.
because here's the thing: would she really wear this
Yeah,
technology
she'd have to
after
be
this?
wearing that bracelet.
So that's what
right,
made. I mean,
right,
I'm
right,
skeptical,
right.
but the movie leaves it open. We don't. But you have to. I would have to think she's not.
She's not.
a
This is
part
his-
of this.
this is his
I
dream.
think it's his dream.
So she is surrounded. She's surrounded by a ring of fire, in a red dress, and he walks out of the shadows in the talking head suit and kind of pulls her out, and they have this really nice interaction between the two, and they reconnect. And then he's like, "I wish this was real," and he just kind of floats up into the sky, and she's reaching up for him, and then it's credits.
But you know what? Again, because it's open to interpretation. Maybe. I mean, the way they left things, the last time he sees her in person is he's leaving to go to France, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm not leaving for 4 days. I can stop by. And she's like, I'll see you when you get back. Like she's
Well,
never,
initially you see it. She's like, they kind of hold hands, and they're both
no,
tearing
it's his
up,
dream.
right?
Right. But yeah,
And then it snaps
he
back.
imagined, because I mean, haven't we all done this where you're like talking yourself up, like you're going into a situation like this is how it's going to play out,
Right,
and you
right.
get there and it's just nothing. And you're like, that didn't go the way.
Right.
So he's dreaming up his like hero scenario,
the perfect
I
ending.
walk in, yeah, he wants the happy ending. Well, he does, but he imagines all this and she wants nothing, but she still looks sad. She's
Yeah.
still sad of the, I mean,
What became of all this?
and so maybe, I mean, if you want to interpret it that way, maybe she does get the thing and thinks, well, maybe I will see him and maybe something will spark and he does the perfect thing she asked for.
Right.
Maybe they do get a happy ending.
Maybe.
Because at
Probably
the end of the
not.
day, this guy didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
You can't really, I mean,
He
was
made
a-
really shitty decisions.
he did, and he's a narcissist and he's whatever, but like, he didn't kill people. He didn't, what I
Like,
mean?
and when
It's-
we say narcissist, not in the medical sense.
Correct.
Like, he's just very self-involved.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And so it's like he's not, like you said, he's not a bad guy.
He has a
Like,
very high opinion of himself.
He hasn't done any, like, unlike a lot of people who get canceled, he has not done anything to deserve it. But he didn't deserve his fame. He didn't deserve his cancel.
Exactly.
Right.
And so,
Right.
like, say at the end that maybe he does get that happy ending. Like, I wouldn't say he doesn't deserve it. So maybe
Maybe.
they
I
do.
didn't take it as a happy end. I took it as this is all he's got left.
That's kind of
Is
what I took
He
it as.
shows up
He's
in
just
her
trying
dreams,
to
and that's all
hold on to
he
something.
all he can ever have of her
Right.
and any degree of normalcy.
It could be.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But I really like this movie. I
Yeah.
thought the Black Mirror stuff was a little weak, although I know they can't get to the end without it.
And it's only 5 minutes. It's the last.
It's at the very, very
Yeah.
end. But I
It's
thought
a
this
fun
was,
ride. It's a crazy.
It loses me when everything turns. Like
Yeah.
I was like, oh, these killing dreams are great, and then when everybody turns on, it's like, you bunch of dicks.
But that's what would happen.
it is what would happen.
That's what
I think that's
Do
why it was
people
so
go-
frustrating.
Do people go, "Hey, Freddie, how's it going? You want to be best friends?" No, they're scared.
well, Freddy's not real.
Well, he's. What do you mean?
I thought instead of France, he should have been going to horror conventions.
That's what I thought too.
I'm like, this crowd
Going
would
to
love him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But in the movies, Freddy's real. He's killing
Well, that's
people.
true.
That's not, this is a movie about a
Well,
guy that's invading
he's not-
people's dreams.
He's not really real. He's only real in like the second one, but not right.
Are there
Oh, goodness.
12 movies?
Yes.
Okay, well, second on.
No. He's always in the. The
Oh.
only way you can beat Freddy is you got to bring him into the real world, and that's how he's real. So they do. They bring him in the real world in 1. They bring him in the real world in 2.
Okay.
Don't get me started.
Too late.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Wait till
Ding,
wait.
ding.
Wait,
Instead of ding ding with
Stab, stab.
slash,
Brother,
slash. Yeah.
Wait until December 22nd,
Which
because
is-
Iron Claw.
Oh, jeez. The whole movie's a ding ding.
Yeah.
I think
That's
we're
right.
doing. I think we're doing Wonka that
You
week.
sons
Yeah.
of bitches. We are not doing Wonka.
I think I'm sick that week.
I'll
Yeah.
record it by myself. I don't care.
You will.
It's Mean Girls, I think. I don't know. But so anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find
This
them.
is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at Joey Butts, BUTTS21, also on Letterboxd at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett and subscribe to Circle of Wizards for your retro gaming fun.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget our Patreon, where for $5 a month, you can get all sorts of bonus content.
As
So-
things calm down, we'll get back. Things have been a little crazy in both of our worlds. So
Maybe that's your first bonus episode.
yeah. Oh my God.
Here's what happened. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Chris joins Annie in hell.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already